Hello, all you lovely lads and ladies. Thank you for being here because I have arguably the most important video. Actually, in fact, hold on, we need to backtrack. I need to take this video more seriously. This video is important. This video is life-changing. So everyone hold. I'll be back. Hold on here. Okay, this is better, right? Do I look professional? Do I look prepared for the video? Now you can finally take me seriously as was the plan. So let's do a little intro. Let's do this like we're professionals and give you a rundown on what we are discussing today. Thank you for sticking around through that intro. Oh brother, oh boy. It's a new year. So we have a lot to discuss. First and foremost, I do want to start the discussion on books I read in 2023. And I also want to conclude this video with my goals for 2024. I feel like this was more fun to do this as a little bit of a sandwich, you know? This is a full meal. You're getting a perspective on everything. If this is your first video here, hi, what a great video to start with, because I'm going to break down the reading from 2023. So, you've read the title, you're here with me, you know what's going on. I came up with 12 superlative categories for my reading in 2023. I am sure people have done something similar before, I just couldn't find anything that really fit this. So I came up with this little tag, if you will. If you want to participate, please make a video, leave a comment, tell me what your superlatives were for 2023. This is just so exciting. And like when this idea dawned on me, I was like, it's so perfect. I have to share, right? I think this will just make more sense once I get into it. We are kicking off this new year with a tag, and then hopefully ending this video, if I don't get too crazy here, ending this video with my 2024 goals, keeping it lighthearted, keeping it fun, because truly reading is for fun for me. And I hope it's for fun for you. Don't feel stressed going into this new year, right? Like this is our hobby. Let's treat it as such. So without further ado, holy smoly googly, let's get into it. Our first superlative today is for best dressed book in 2023, and it's staring at you right here on the shelf. You didn't even know it. There it is. Once Upon a Broken Heart, the UK edition by Stephanie Garber. This book truly is gorge beyond belief. It's unmatched. Like, it being hard to get probably helps with, you know, my enjoyment of it. But like the foxes, like be so for real. It is really unmatched. Clearly, Best Dressed is your favorite cover of the year, so if you want to share yours, let me know what your favorite cover was this year. But of course, we love a book that is harder to obtain and looks gorgiano, right? Another shout out to my bestie for sending that my way. Lots of love to you. Okay, moving on, because next is the cutest couple of 2023. There is only one right answer to this question for me, and it is Iris, Winnow, and Roman Kit. Like, come on, is there a better couple from 2023? This couple is from Divine Rivals. I do not own this. I actually read it on KU. I'm not sure if it's still on KU, but if it is, what are you doing? Pick it up. I am so enamored with them. Everything they do together, everything they say, like they are my OTP. They are my OTP through and through. Am I dating myself with that reference? Do people still say OTP? Anywho's, you already know. If you haven't picked this one up, I'm begging you to pick this one up. Roman and Iris. The next category we have is most likely to succeed. This book is a book that you found very promising that's going to be a series. So like the first in a series, maybe the other books haven't been released yet or you haven't picked them up yet, or just someone's debut novel could also fit this. It's just like a promising author, a promising series that you've just started. And for me, that book is, it actually fits both of these categories. It is The Jasad Heir by Sarah Hashim. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, so my apologies. But this book is not only her debut novel, it is also the first of a series she's starting. The series is called The Scorched Throne, and I am just living, breathing, dying for this book. And the fact that the second book doesn't have a release date has made me unstable. But nonetheless, this book seems so promising. This one wasn't a full 5 stars for me this year. It was so close. But knowing it was her debut book and the feelings that she conveyed in this book, like, oh, this is real enemies to lovers vibes, and I just couldn't get enough of it. I can't wait to see what she does next. The next category is most unique, and I'm going to give that one to Sharks in the Time of Saviors by Kauai Strong Washburn. This book was so interesting and really captivating. I think I might have a reading vlog of myself reading it, so I will look for that, link it if it exists. This book is really about Hawaiian culture, and our author is Hawaiian. He grew up on the Big Island. In this book, we get to see a lot of like sibling dynamics and parent-children dynamics. It's very interesting. This character gains like these magical kind of new abilities, and his family's kind of reliant on him using them to help other people, to help them. And it was really fun to see this culture up close and personally. It was really captivating, very unique, have never read something quite like this, and I also believe this was his debut novel, so definitely worth the read. If you can, listen to the audiobook because they do use a lot of Hawaiian language in it, and that for me just made the reading process more smooth. So that is my most unique book from 2023. Our next category is Biggest Heartbreaker. I feel like it is mostly self-explanatory, but this is a book that broke your heart, made you cry, a book you might never recover from, is what we're talking about here. And for me, I'm gonna choose, oh my goodness, it's right here. Everybody hold! You see it coming. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This book, one, read like a TV show. Like, I know people have compared it to Gossip Girl, but it really does read like you were watching it. I definitely think if you're getting into reading for the first time, this is a great book to pick up just because it is so easy to read and really captivating. Warning, this book's also gonna make you cry. It's gonna make you sad. You see a really toxic relationship where this couple just cannot find a way to make it work, and they both are dealing with issues that they're not handling super well. And you know, the end is gonna break your heart. I literally haven't picked up the next book, which is I think Daisy Hates, because this book broke me so much. I'm like, do I need to do that again? Do I need to? But I will. I will in 2024 pick up the rest of the series, but I had to take a serious break after this one, so this one is my biggest heartbreaker this year. Next is Class Clown. Obviously, this book is a book that made you laugh. It had a lot of humor. You literally laughed out loud while reading it. That's this book, and for me, it was Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun. This is the 3rd installment in the Finley Donovan series by Ella Kazimono. This book was so good. I really enjoyed the first one. I think the second one was fine. This third one, for me, it just knocked it out of the park in every area. They're a cozy mystery series where our author writes mystery books, but she's also kind of living these mysteries. They're funny, like relatable, so much fun. If you're looking for something that has mystery elements but is just super cozy, I would pick up this series. I love it. 10 out of 10. Next, we have Most Popular. This is a book that obviously got a lot of hype this year, but actually like lived up to it for me. I really enjoyed it just as thoroughly as the rest of the crew, and that doesn't always happen. But for me, this year, the book that really lived up to its popularity was Happy Place by Emily Henry. This one, at the moment, is probably my favorite Emily Henry book. Her writing is just so beautiful. I feel like I'm right there living it with them. I understand all of our characters so well, like they're all so important. I loved the depiction of the friend group in here and the relationship between Harriet and Win. This book just did it for me, like in all regards. Like I couldn't put it down. It was so worth the read. This book is for us mid-20 girls. It really is. I loved it. Can't wait to pick up the next Emily Henry. Loved it. Next category we have is the category I actually won when I was in high school. Take it as you will. This category is Biggest Flirt. And this one I'm going to give to the book that I thought was the smuttiest book I read this year, but that I also enjoyed. Because there's another one on the table that I did not enjoy that was super smutty, but a smutty tale that I enjoyed that had the spice, but also all the other things that make a story complete. If you're following along at home, that's what I'm going for. And for me, that was Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. This book was so good. It really knocked it out of the park for me. I read it on KU. I'm not so sure that it's on KU anymore. I think it might have been taken off. Nonetheless, still so worth the read. One, the story is so meaningful and deep. I would look up trigger warnings just for, there's a lot of grief covered in this book. But on the other hand, so much spice, so much steam, and so well placed, so well done. Like, y'all, this book, this is it. This is the gold standard of spice, living, loving, laughing along with this story. So worth the read. If you're looking for some spice, you know where to look. Next, we have some really important categories, some of them catering to low star books. One of those being most likely to need jail time. This is a story that either the things in this book deserve jail time, the people in this book deserve jail time. You didn't enjoy it? Jail time. That is this category, okay? And for me, the book in question is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Hey, I'm not trying to ick some people's yum, but this book, icky, okay? Honestly, you guys, the age gap in this, like, it's not even the fact that there's an age gap, it's how they treat the age gap. Like, the age gap is the kink of this book. So it's always like, oh, she's just a little baby. She's just a little baby. She actually is. She's like 18. She's like 19, 18. She actually is a little baby. Ugh. It gave me the ick. They need jail time. That man needs to go to jail. I don't care. I don't care what anyone else says. It's a no from me. Sorry, goodbye. An honorable mention also, housemaid Frida McFadden. This was actually a super enjoyable, quick thriller, so I did enjoy reading this. But the characters in this book, jail time. Literally our main character, I think, is just getting out of jail, right? In this book, jail time. Anyways, let's move on to a more positive category, which is most likely to have their own show. Again, I feel like this is straightforward, but this is a book that felt like you were watching a show or a movie while you were reading it. Like, you got into such a headspace that you're like, oh my god, I felt like I saw that whole film, but it was a book, right? Obviously, my honorable mention was kind of Magnolia Parks for TV show, but the winner in this category is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, Kaylin Bayron. This book was exactly like watching a slasher film. I'm not kidding. I felt like I was a 90s slasher and was just eating my popcorn, getting a little more scared. It was a little more scary at some points, but it was such a good book. I loved the references. I love a classic slasher thriller feel. I ate this book up. Pick this one up. Do yourself the favor. Loved it. We only have 2 categories left, you guys. This video, we are turning and burning, right? Oh gosh, I didn't use that correctly, but one of my favorite categories. Most likely to run away with the circus. AKA, most likely to make me look like a freaking clown. This is a book that was hyped up, everybody's talking about it, misleading me about it, and it was dog water. It was trash, it was terrible. And I get to say that. If you liked it, that is also grand. Again, my opinions don't make your opinions not true. I'm just sharing my truth. And my truth is that assistant to the villain, this book, y'all hyping me up for this book, be so for real. I looked like a clown. I practically had a red nose on reading this book because I was lost. And instead of DNFing, I was like, it's gotta be in here somewhere, right? Like something switches, something gets better. It's gotta happen. It doesn't. And unfortunately, this book is getting a sequel, so, you know, I was just disappointed, misled, let down by this novel. Let's move to our last category because we're gonna end on a high. We're not gonna end on a low. And that category is most unforgettable. When I look back on the year 2023, what book stands out to me? What book really, grabbed my heart, stayed locked, stayed loaded? Am I making any sense? This is the book that lives rent-free in my mind, and that book is Divine Rivals. The way I can't even talk about this book because I loved it so much. I felt everything in this book. I felt sad. I felt happy. I had happy tears, sad tears. I was so immersed and I cared so much about our characters. I know that this book, you've heard about it twice in this video alone, but that is me telling you, you need to read it. All the more reason for you to read it. I can't stop talking about it. Please just read it so I can stop talking about it and you can start talking to me about it. Honestly, if you pick this one up, DM me your reading journey because I want to read it again for the first time, but if someone else reads it for the first time and sends me all their thoughts, like, hopefully that will give me my fix, But truly, this book was perfection. No notes, okay? Yes, chef. It's perfect. I loved it. I'm so deranged, like, I don't even know what to say about it, but just know it was a 10 and know that I loved it. You guys, I hope you loved the superlative section of this video. It was really so exciting to build the questions, look through all the books I read this year, and choose books for each prompt. But again, like, I want to see you do the same. So please leave a comment, answer a few or all of them in the comments, or make a video, make a post. Just make sure you tag me because I'd love to see what your superlatives were for your 2023 reads. Without further ado, I'm going to quickly go into my reading goals for 2024. I really didn't want to make this its own video, mostly because, like, I'm not trying to put tons of pressure on my reading goals, but I like to have goals in mind. It gives me direction. It makes me motivated to read. So I just want to quickly share those with you. And again, if you want to share your reading goals with me, I'd love to chat about them, hold each other accountable. It is exciting to be in a new year, but also don't feel afraid to, like, cruise into the new year just vibing, okay? This section is just literally for my little Capricorn brain, okay? So if it's not your vibe, you've been here for the important part, like, go live your life. But for those goal-oriented people, stick around. Here is what we are trying to achieve in the reading sector for 2024. I have seen a lot of people moving away from actually having, like, a number goal, like a Goodreads number of books read this year goal. I've loved seeing that. I think that's great if you're really wanting to prioritize, like, quality over quantity. It doesn't serve you to have a number goal. Like, don't have one. Make it 2, make it 1, whatever you'd like. But I am going to have a number goal. It keeps me accountable. It makes me motivated. And I feel like I don't set it so high that I feel like it's impossible to reach. So that's also key when you're making a book goal. Like, reflect on 2023, reflect on about how many books you read a month. Go from there. My book goal for 2024 is 80 books. This is 5 more than last year, so I feel like I'm not spreading myself too thin. I think in 2023 I read 77, so I don't think I'm being outlandish, and I also read books that are graphic novels. I have some middle grade on my shelf that I want to get to this year, so I'm not worried about meeting that 80 books goal. But I also think it'll keep me accountable moving forward. Of those 80 books, I'm hoping to have at least 3 be nonfiction, 3 be classics, and 3 of those be rereads. I know that's not a high number. I like the number 3. Again, I don't want to stress myself out too much, and I had trouble meeting my nonfiction goal last year, so just 3 nonfiction, 3 classics, 3 rereads. I'm not a huge rereader, but last year I reread Normal People for the first time and I really enjoyed being back in that story. So I'm empowering myself to actually read some nonfiction this year, to do some rereading, and finally read some classics. My next goal is to actually do reviews on Goodreads and Storygraph, like actually put some thoughts there or even just write them down. I am planning to make a reading journal, so hopefully that will help. But sometimes I forget my thoughts about a book. I forget like exactly what I liked in a book or what I didn't like. And then it comes time for me to do a wrap up, share my thoughts. And I'm like, I had thoughts. I remember having thoughts. It's just they're gone now. So really staying on top of my reviews when I finish a book, even if it's just jotting it down in my notes on my phone, like making sure I am capturing my thoughts from my reads in 2024. My last two goals go hand in hand, and those goals are to shrink my physical TBR and to lower the number of book purchases. Obviously, maybe you don't know this, I know this, so many books on my shelves did not get read this year because there's a phenomenon with like going to buy new books and just like looking at them like, oh, I liked that book enough to own it but not to actually read it. I really don't know what phenomenon is happening there, but it needs to be taken down a notch. So I'm hoping to read at least 36 books off my shelf this year. I kind of was doing the math and I was like, okay, that's about 3 a month. I think I can manage, and I think I end the year a lot happier knowing that the books I've purchased have actually been put to good use. I have an unhaul of my shelves coming up here soon, and it just made me realize like I don't need to be buying more books because maybe I'll lose interest within the time I buy it and finally get to reading it, and that's really disappointing to me. So I'm not calling it a no buy year because I don't want to set myself up for failure. I want to still buy new releases I'm interested in, books that are next in a series that I'm really enjoying, and books that like if I see it and I know I'm going to start it like that month, that day, that week, like bringing those books home, but just not buying books just because I'm like, oh, that could be interesting. Oh, maybe. Trying to narrow down on that. Use my library, read books off my shelf. We can do it. 2024 is our year to get to the books on our physical TBR. All right, you guys, thank you for listening to me ramble, listening to my opinionated thoughts, and all of my superlatives and goals. This video was so much fun to plan, like I said, and to film. I'm so excited for 2024. I feel like I'm really getting a hold on the books that actually interest me and books I really want to read, and that's really exciting. So I'm hoping to read a lot of high quality reads in 2024, and I can't wait to share all my thoughts with you guys in this next year. Thank you for being here. You're appreciated, you're loved. You know how it goes. I gotta love ya and leave ya. See you in the next one. Cheers.